Imagine a crime scene. A lone bullet lodged in the wall, a spent cartridge case on the floor, and no witnesses inside. The only clues left behind, silent but deadly evidence that holds the key to unraveling the mystery. How do investigators track down a criminal when all they have are these tiny fragments of a deadly puzzle? Welcome to the world of forensic ballistics, a field where science meets the art of crime solving. First up, let's understand ballistics. This is the science that studies the motion, behavior, and effects of projectiles. But in our case, we're focusing on bullets. Ballistics helps us understand exactly how a bullet moves when it's fired from a firearm. Every phase of its journey tells us something crucial. Now, let's talk about internal ballistics. This phase begins the moment the trigger is pulled. The bullet is still inside the gun, and during this split second, the gunpowder burns, pressure builds up, and the bullet accelerates down the barrel. All this happens in a flash, but it's a critical moment in understanding what comes next. Next, we enter the phase known as external ballistics. This is when the bullet leaves the barrel and travels through the air. Here, we analyze its trajectory, speed, and range. Understanding these factors can reveal the distance from which the bullet was fired, the angle of the shot, and even how environmental conditions might have affected its path. And then comes terminal ballistics, the moment of impact. This stage begins when the bullet strikes an object or target. We study its impact, how deep it penetrates, and the damage it causes. Each of these elements can provide crucial evidence in solving a case. Weapons we commonly refer to as guns are technically called firearms. Their legal definition is provided in the Arms Act, which covers everything from how they're made to how they're used. Bullet identification is all about the unique markings on a bullet created by the rifling inside the barrel. These grooves and lands leave distinctive marks on the bullet, making it possible to link it back to a specific firearm. This is one of the most important aspects of ballistics in forensic investigations. And it's not just bullets. Cartridge case identification plays a key role as well. Fired cartridge cases also carry unique marks thanks to the firing pin, extractor, and ejector. These marks can help us identify which gun fired the bullet. When a gun is fired, it leaves behind telltale traces known as gunshot residue or GSR. These residues contain both burnt and unburnt particles. By detecting them on a suspect's hands or clothing, we can confirm whether they fired the gun. Trajectory analysis is where we map out the path the bullet traveled. This analysis helps us establish the angle of entry, the distance between the shooter and the target, and the shooter's position. It's like tracing the bullet's journey to piece together what happened. Finally, we have wound ballistics. This subfield studies what happens when a bullet enters the body, analyzing entry and exit wounds, bullet fragmentation, and tissue damage. This information is crucial in determining the type of firearm used, the distance of the shooter, and even the position of the victim. Now, let's talk about some important personalities in forensic ballistics and their contributions. First, let's talk about Dr. Calvin Goddard. Goddard is known as the father of forensic ballistics. He developed the concept of ballistics, where we match bullets to firearms by studying the unique marks inside the barrel. In the 1920s, he introduced the comparison microscope, which allowed two bullets to be compared side by side. This invention helped solve many cases, including the famous St. Valentine's Day massacre. Next, let's talk about Alexandre Lacassagne. He was a French forensic scientist who greatly advanced forensic ballistics in the 19th century. Lacassagne conducted the first ballistic studies and showed that we can identify a firearm by studying the grooves and striations on a fired bullet. He also demonstrated that gunpowder residue analysis can be used to estimate the firing distance. His name is Luc S. May. Luc May was an American forensic scientist who made multiple contributions to forensic ballistics, including techniques for tool mark identification and firearm examination. He conducted many training programs and workshops to properly implement forensic ballistics in law enforcement agencies. Next, let's talk about Dr. Vincent J. M. DeMaio. Dr. DiMaio is a well-known forensic pathologist and ballistics expert. He has worked on many high-profile cases, and his books, especially Gunshot Wounds, Practical Aspects of Firearms, Ballistics and Forensic Techniques, have become a standard reference for forensic professionals. He has detailed the analysis of gunshot wounds, and his research has made the field of forensic ballistics even stronger. Major General Julian S. Hatcher. Hatcher was an army officer and firearms expert who made many groundbreaking contributions to the field of ballistics. His famous book Hatcher's Notebook is a comprehensive guide on firearms, ammunition, and ballistics. He conducted extensive research on ballistic coefficients, bullet stability, and terminal ballistics, which are still used as references today. Next is Alfred A. Biasotti. He was a pioneer in tool mark identification and microscopic analysis of ballistic evidence. He developed comparative bullet lead analysis techniques and provided expert testimony in many court cases. His work was instrumental in developing standard practices in forensic ballistics. Now let's talk about Dr. Jaidev Sharma, a highly respected name in forensic ballistics and forensic science. Dr. Sharma played a significant role in implementing modern techniques in forensic ballistics. He served as a professor in Dr. Harisingo University.